You guys ever just like sleep in and you think you're gonna be well rested for the rest of the time of you being awake, but instead you're just tired all fucking day? That's me. That's me today. But I gotta provide a service to you people, so I've got flash number 48. See how I can start off really low? And I can just jump that energy up for you people. Come on. So I got flash 48 here. Let's look at this cover. Wow. Not really that great, but there's some hidden messages in here that are really subtle. I don't know if you can figure it out, but let me walk you through this journey. So we got Barry and Wally on the scales of justice. What does that mean? Well, since they're basically level, it tells us that Barry and Wally have the same amount of justice within them, or they kind of just have similar weights. Isn't that interesting? Okay, let's go. So we start off in Times Forgotten, and we see Wally is there with his children that are dead, but you know, in Times Forgotten they were still kicking. And then we see Wally is on apparently tying his daughter's shoe. What's going on there, Wally? You just touching her ankle like a creep? Just making sure those ankle bones are there. They're just in there where they should be in their proper place. So he's trying to get his kids to race and see if they can jumpstart their Speed Force connection with, which I mean when you're a Flash, I feel like all your solutions are running. I mean, I haven't read a lot of Flash, but I feel like that's the key element to the majority of Flash comics, is just run. You don't know what to do, just run. I'm going to apply that to just regular everyday life. You don't know what to do in a situation, don't confront that shit head on. Run away from it. Get some distance, gives you some time to reflect. Maybe you need to pull up stakes and start anew in a new city. Just run away from your problems. They cannot possibly ever catch up with you. So we see the girl's name is Irie, which I think is short for Iris, and the other kid's name is Jai, which just makes me think of Jai Courtney and how he's not really that good of an actor. So it's probably good that they're dead. Because I don't know what it is with the West Allen family, but they rename things the same. Wow, did I just have a fucking stroke? They use the same names for new things. We got a couple Wallys, we got a couple Irises. It's just too much. There's so many names out there, and you guys are just picking names out of a hat that only have like 2 names in it. Just be a little bit imaginative for once in your goddamn life. So I'll skip this panel over here, but you see Wally, he is in the Flash Museum of the 25th century. The Renegades transported them there. And he's looking at his dead kids' costumes. And he's touching his hand on the glass. Well, you can kind of see it. I'm not very good at not showing pages. So, and then we see that Hunter Zolomon there. And he's telling him that I could bring back all the people that are gone. You forgot about me as well, but I never forgot about you. Okay, that's going to raise a yellow flag. Anytime someone's like, oh, I kind of forgot about you, if you respond with, I didn't forget you, you're in the wrong. I don't care if you're just talking about high school, you're wrong. You just need to backpedal and say, oh yeah, I forgot all about you. And walk away. Just walk away. If someone forgot you, that's the ultimate diss. I mean, if you ever get into an argument and just be like, you know what? Your entire existence is forgettable. That would cut me deep. That would cut me deep, man. So, I'm just saying, it's very good to say. But if someone forgets you, you need to immediately forget about them. Because it's the only way you're going to possibly maintain a shred of dignity. So he's like, you know what? You are the real hero. You're better than Barry Allen, which honestly, yeah, Hunter, we're on the same page here. He's like, I can help you, and he's like, never been much of a follower, jackass. Now this is classic Wally. I mean, he's gonna start calling people jackasses. He's gonna start throwing punches. It's why I like him, but I also have to deal with the fact that he really laments the erasure of his children. It's like, Wally, you can make new kids. This is why I don't understand when parents get all emotional about their dead children. You can have more kids. There's so many of them out there. Good God. And this is a fresh start. I'm just saying, quit crying about your dead kids, parents. And we see that, of course, Wally does just beat the shit out of him. We see that triggers all sorts of memories. You know, like when they were on the treadmill together. When Reverse Flash forgot how to kiss a woman properly. He's got her by the neck and he's looking at her and he's got his hand like this and he's like, I forgot what the next step is. And she's like, oh my god, you forgot? You know, Reverse Flash is standing there. He saw a guy in a wheelchair once. Wow, that was a weird day when a gorilla ripped a man in half. Just having a cup of coffee and then just shaking hands. I guess that was his most memorable handshake. But this makes me think, hey, if you're having trouble with memory loss, or specifically having an issue with another human being, just beat the shit out of them. Because especially if you're like, he did something to me, but I can't remember what he did to me. I wish I could have that. I wish I could get those memories back. Just beat the shit out of them and you'll get everything. You'll get everything. Plus you'll get some funny stuff. Like, remember when that guy went to jail? That's a good memory. I'm just saying, I feel like most problems are solved by just beating the shit out of someone. So, let's call someone forgettable or beat the shit out of them. You're on your way. So, of course, Wally's like, oh man, shit. You did all that stuff to me. You did that to that woman. She'll never forget you for what is that? You got somebody by the neck and then you do this? What, are you about to season her? What the fuck? What is going on there? Are you a cannibal? He's like, he tells him, like, look, listen to me, alright? He's not here to fight, which I gotta tell you is very disappointing on my end. That's all I want from comics. So he does the arm swooshy thing and he flies into some stuff, and apparently Hunter's Element doesn't have his powers anymore. And he says the cosmic treadmill exploded, it corrupted his mind. Now that I've had time to slow down, I understand why you hate me. How is that, what's the correlation between a cosmic treadmill exploding, your mind getting corrupted, and then you slowing down? It's my understanding that being slow is a torture for the Flash. And then this makes me think, are Flashes completely in control? Can they just stop being the Flash? Because I feel like being the Flash probably causes more problems than it solves, you know? And then you can just tap into it. Like, after you've beaten the shit out of everyone you've known and you realize, oh, you can't do that? You're not really supposed to... I mean, you watched a YouTube video and Lindsay Parks told you that you could beat the shit out of people. And then you realize, oh, there are consequences. Then you can become the Flash and pull up stakes and start something anew. So he's like, look, we can be heroes together. We can return everything that was lost. And then I'll skip this next, but it's a double-page spread of everybody's in Central City. Barry, Iris, Wallace, the Renegades from their previous issue, and they figure out the whole reason that they were transported to the future was Iris killed Eobard Thawne, aka real Reverse Flash, and that's why she's going to be put on trial. But then they discover that there's video evidence of the interaction of the situation that proves that it was in self-defense. So they're like, why did they have us come get you? And then Barry's like, oh, you fucking idiots, isn't it obvious? We're being manipulated. They wanted us here all along. They wanted Wally here. They want Barry here. To a lesser extent, Wallace. I gotta tell you, Barry and Wally are the stars of this show. So then we see this, and I'm thinking, guys, how are you both so bad at punching? I mean, you just missed each other. Like, wow. I mean, is this worse than, like, an air punch? I don't know. I've never punched anybody, but I feel like I wouldn't have done this. I wouldn't have just caressed their cheek with my bicep. Then again, you know, I've never been in a fight, so maybe it'll happen, we'll see. But they're just watching some video evidence, and he's trying to convince Wally that, you know, being a speedster it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, dude. He's trying, Wally kind of understands, but, you know, Wally's a bit of a dummy, so you're just trying to sever my and Barry's connection to the Speed Force for good. Are your powers more important than your children, Wally? Absolutely. Oh my. If I had speed powers, I would be on the FBI's, no, I would be #1 on the FBI's most wanted list. And the CIA. I don't know. I don't know really the differences. Because I assume the CIA has a top 10. I assume most. Like, I'm sure there's a top 10 of the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. But that's like, we don't talk about it because it's kind of like lame. Like, you know the ATF guys when they go to the bar in Washington, and they're trying to talk about their, you know, their criminals, their pursuits, their suspects. The ATF guys, they just sort of hang back, and then when one of them gets brave to approach one of the real members of law enforcement, they just get shut the fuck down. It's like, yeah. We found a guy who had 2 AK-47s and an acre of tobacco that wasn't sanctioned by the government. And the CIA guy's like, yeah, we literally murdered the rest of Osama bin Laden's family. And the FBI was like, yeah, us too. And then they high-five each other. I'm just saying, don't give me powers. Don't put me in a situation where I'm going to get powers. I mean, I'm constantly hanging out in science labs, during electrical storms, and right next to the shelf of chemicals. I'm always hanging out there. I'm always going to the zoo, hanging around next to the spiders while I carry some uranium. I'm trying to get stuff done. And I'm letting you know, if it works out, you're all fucking dead. I will be the best villain of all time. So, he's like, no, the Speed Force is a prison. And then finally, Barry, he shows up and we see Captain Cold, and I would like to point out here that Captain Cold is holding his gun parallel to the ground in this manner, which is, I've never held a handgun before, but I have to, this is my natural pose. This is, because I'm a straight motherfucking G. I'm just going to hold it like that all the time, and I appreciate that Commander Cold is what he is, I'm sorry. Commander Cold is also a G. I mean, he's cold-blooded. He's cold. This shit's cold-blooded. And of course, Wally, he jumps in front of Hunter, and they all just start having a heart-to-heart. Barry's like, what? What's going on? What are you doing? And then Wally's like, I wasn't asking about any of your shit, Barry. I don't need your permission. So he runs off immediately, and Barry realizes that he has to go after him because, I mean, they're family. La Familia. La Familia at the Olive... I feel like the Flash family, they eat at Olive Garden all the time. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, guys. And so he goes after Wally's time signature, blah, blah, blah. And then Reverse Flash, he has like it looks like a Yellow Lantern's mallet. And he smacks it on the ground and he disappears. And that triggers a catastrophic temporal event, and it's that scene's very cool. I can't show it because I gotta have some sort of reason to go buy this. I feel like I show too much stuff all the time. And then we see that Barry and Wally, they just literally run into each other. I mean, God, that, I gotta tell you, that looks cooler in real life. Most of the time it's the opposite. Then they have a little bit of a tangle, and we get to the first page from the previous issue of them arguing, and Wally's like, hey, I'm gonna break your fucking legs, and then when they heal, when they're fully healed, I'm talking post-physical therapy, all sorts of stuff, I'm gonna cut those bitches off, because you're never gonna run again, you punk-ass bitch, Barry Allen. That's literally what it says. I can't show it, but just trust me on that, that's what happens. And then the last page just sort of ends with them running, which again, I've said, I think that's how they all have to end. But I'm into this Flash War. I mean, who weighs more? I'm really interested in seeing the Barry Allen torture scenes, and I know you guys are going to love it too.